Mike suggested it and said, bringing back that vibe of the 60s, and yet how relevant it is today as well. And when you think of how in our own lives, but also in the collective, we seem to kind of go in cycles. And we have opportunities to learn and hopefully not allow history to keep repeating itself in the same way. And I like to think of it, though, as a spiraling upwards, right? So if you watch my finger, those things, it's like we're spiraling and we're going up. And then some things happen and it feels like we're going back down to perhaps a consciousness of fear, doubt, lack, all that. And then, yay, we've learned, we've grown. And then all of a sudden, another level of why are we here again? And then, no, we're feeling great and bliss and joy. We're all one. But look, we started here and now we're here. Just contemplate that. So, I'm feeling a little... You all are over here today, and you're usually over here, and then I'm feeling like this is blocking me a little bit, so I'm going to do a little like this. Okay, I don't know, I just have to feel the energy. So come on, everybody, let's get together, try to love one another. We do that here, and yet sometimes when we go beyond the little love circles of our own friends and community, it can be challenging. And it sounds so simple. Just love one another. I'm love, you're love, let's be love. Simple, and yet it's a practice. And it's a practice to be taken seriously. Meaning committed to, right? So to commit our lives to this idea of spirit, life, God, love itself, revealing itself to us through us in relationship with one another, even when the road feels bumpy and rough and we meet challenges and everything may feel chaotic and we don't know why this or that is happening, even then is the opportunity to dig in even deeper and commit and recommit to know love, to know God, spirit, life. If you were to distill all the spiritual traditions down, take away the doctrine and the dogma and the various different rituals, it comes down to the same thing, love. Love one another. Love God, spirit. Love your neighbor. Yourself. That's what I was about to say. Who said it? Who said it? I was about to say, when we say love God, love your neighbor, sometimes we forget that we are part of God. And so love ourselves in the process as well. Yes, you were feeling me. I was right there. So how do we live that out? Well, life gives us many opportunities, different choices, different directions. We have various narratives in the world and society, from friends, from families, from others. So the power lives within us to elevate our awareness and choose love. Because love is always the answer. But sometimes the path of love isn't clear, and we get confused because we might think that love is touchy-feely, and yet sometimes love calls us to move into action, to be the mama bear, to be the fierce protector, right? Yet underneath all of that is oneness. So how do we live it out when life shows us, gives us many opportunities, and the path isn't always clear, and we may feel like we're wandering in the dark? So when I was thinking about this topic, this story came to mind, and I've shared it before, and this is the children's book based on the story by Leo Tolstoy, The Three Questions. I'm going to share a little with you today. So there was once a king who realized that if he could find the answer to these three simple questions, that he would know always what to do and he would never fail. The questions are, when is the right time to act? Who is the most important one? And what is the most important thing to do? So he asked his advisors, his friends, his counselors, and everyone gave him a different answer, a different idea. And he wasn't quite satisfied. So he decided he would go seek the wisdom of the wise hermit who lived on top of the mountain. To the mountaintop he journeyed. And when he arrived, the hermit was out in his garden planting rows of seeds. So the king asked his three questions, but the hermit just smiled and kept digging and planting seeds. The king noticed that the hermit was old and frail and struggling a bit. So he said, let me help you. So he spent the day digging in the garden and planting seeds. Finally, he said, wise one, I come to you for answers. Please tell me. What are the answers to my three questions? And just then a man came stumbling out of the forest, wounded and bleeding. The king rushed to him, washed his wounds, bandaged him up, cared for him. When the man came to, he opened his eyes and met with the gaze of the king, who was carefully holding him. And the man who was wounded looked at the king and said, forgive me. And the king replied, forgive you? Why? I don't even know you. I have nothing to forgive you for. But the man said, you don't know me, but I know you. You took my land, and I swore revenge. I was waiting back there to kill you. But your guards found me, and they wounded me before I could attack. But if you hadn't have cared for me, I would have died. You saved my life, and now I will faithfully serve you. The king forgave the man. He sent him to his best doctors to give care, and then he gave back his land and sent him back home. Later, the king found the hermit still planting seeds in the garden, and once again said, please, I've journeyed this far. Can you give me the answers to my questions? And the hermit says, but you already have them. Confused, the king asks, what do you mean? Well, if you had not stayed with me to help in the garden, you would have been attacked. So the most important time was when you were digging with me in the garden. And I was the most important person in that moment. And doing good was your most important task. Later, when you cared for the wounded man, that was the most important time. He was the most important one. And doing good was your most important task. So remember this, he says, the most important time is now. The most important one is the one you are with. Love the one you're with. And the most important thing to do is good, to love, to be love. So let's unpack this a little bit. The story, again, gives three simple answers. The time is now. The most important one is who you're with, and the most important thing to do is that which is before you, to be love, to do good. It points us to the heart of every spiritual path, that awareness, presence, and love, that's where we live. When we live in the moment, present and aware, listening to, being in, as in, through love, that is when we are experiencing what some may call the bliss or the awakening. Even if it looks like cleaning a bloody wound, that is the moment. So within each of us, there is this pull, this longing that Apprentice Hemphill calls it, a longing within us to grow, to expand, to be like that bud unfurling, growing into our next greatest yet to be, experiencing and expressing more love. And I imagine that's why you're here. You feel that, right? That longing within. You're drawn to wake up, to expand, and to not just sleepwalk through life, living someone else's narrative about who and what you should be and when you should do whatever you're doing and what you should be doing. We come here because we know there's something within us that knows, and we have that power to awaken within us, to embody spirit more fully, embody those qualities of spirit, of God, of love, of peace, of freedom, of creativity, of joy. And the way we do it is not by waiting for some grand revelation to occur, or not by trying to figure it all out and plan it all out. With those of us who would love to just have a nice laid out plan and be able to control everything that happens, right? Life is a mystery, and will keep giving us opportunities to be present. So something is calling you. And the opportunity is to practice the present, moment by moment, and ask ourselves, what is mine to do now? Who am I becoming? What qualities do I want to embody more fully? Apprentice Hemphill says, to initiate change, we can only begin where we are and whoever we are right now. When we share experience, we create community and a foundation for change. So this comes back to that idea of loving ourselves right where we are. And that's exactly what the king discovered, that change doesn't happen, transformation, growth doesn't happen in the abstract, but it happens in the dirt of the ground, in the care of another, and in the simple choice to love the one in front of you. Awareness isn't just an individual practice. It's relational. It's communal. And we are constantly shaping our experience through presence and where we choose to place our awareness and intention and focus, and through our choices and our actions. So when we embody love in the moment, we're not just elevating our own consciousness, we're elevating the consciousness of the whole. And as the song said, everybody come together now. It's time to love one another. Not it's time to judge one another. It's time to love one another. And again, it's nuanced, because love doesn't mean accepting and agreeing with things that are occurring or with the actions of another. But love calls us to know something greater within ourselves and to hold a vision that is greater for our world and our society. And we have the power within to make the change, to be the change that we seek, moment by moment. It's not just a nice idea, it's a roadmap. This practice of listening, leaning into our spiritual practices and not just listening to the world and the constant chatter of the messages that just constantly bombard us through these little computers that we have in our pockets all the time. You know, we used to have to choose to like turn on the radio or get the newspaper. Now it's just everywhere. Which invites us even more to commit to our practice and to commit to taking times of silence and to listen not to the world, but to the one within, the divine presence within. And from that place, we are guided. Our heart expands. And perhaps it's helping dig a garden or tend to someone's wound or forgiving ourselves or another. And sometimes we're called to plant new seeds. And sometimes we're called to rest and to be still. But moment by moment, we are guided if we take the time to be still and listen. And again, when I say be still, I'm rarely still, y'all. I got a lot of kinetic energy. So for those of you like, I can't, like, it doesn't mean you have to be like this. I find a lot of insight on mindful walks and hiking, right? So stillness as a presence, an intention, right, of being open to listen. I just have to say that because I know there are many people that are curious about meditation but think, I can't just sit and quiet my mind, you know, and then just give it up. But try a mindful hike, a walk around your neighborhood, doodling, coloring, even listening to a piece of music that stirs your soul, contemplating a piece of art. There are so many things in this world that if we intend to be present with it, can spark an insight or awakening. Yesterday, the drinking of the cacao, it's not necessarily that the thing itself has some magical power. It was that we chose to take 20 minutes to be intentional about something, to listen to our heart, to mindfully drink something and notice the smell and the taste. I love mindfully eating dark chocolate. Like, that's a spiritual practice, y'all, right? We get to who has to say that practice has to look a certain way? If it opens your heart to the oneness, quiets the chatter of the ego mind, and inspires an awakening of sorts, you get to decide what that practice is. And we must decide to practice. Otherwise, we're waking up and we're living by default. And someone else's story or idea about the world or your life is running the show. If you don't take back your power, set the intention, and be mindful throughout your day. Carve out that time of practice. So let's see what we learned today. What's the right time? Now. Yes. Who is the most important one? And what's the right thing to do? To love, to do good, to serve, yes. So if you live with those three questions in your heart, you will experience that evolution of consciousness and ever-expanding awakening. And I'm curious, let's do it as an experiment this week, right? And let's share with each other. We have our Facebook community as a one platform. We have our Sunday gatherings and other ways. let's remind each other and check in with each other on our practice and what's being revealed as we commit to these 3 questions. So lastly, I want to share this quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Let us take our bloated nothingness out of the path of the divine circuits, and let us unlearn the wisdom of the world. So in other words, let us quiet the ego mind so that spirit can be revealed. Let us move aside our ego, our bloated nothingness that's what he was referring to, that ego. That is the fear. And not be distracted by the narrative of separation and othering that is so prevalent in our human consciousness. Instead, to allow spirit and the love of the divine to flow through us unhindered. Awakening isn't a one-time event. It's a daily practice of presence and expanding awareness and opening to spirit in each moment. So let us choose to commit to wake up again and again, moment by moment, to be present and to be the love. Commit to love, to presence, to mindfulness. So are we ready to come together and try to love one another and ourselves? All right, let's take it into prayer. So just take a nice deep breath. And notice even just that practice of a breath clears the energy and allows us to reset. Another deep breath. Reset. As we recognize right here, right now, the one life that is love, that is wholeness, that is peace, that is divine order, the divine activity of life expressing itself through each and every one of us. So I know that love is having its way in my life, in all of our lives, as we choose to know love, to be love. That freedom and peace and creativity and order is happening now. For this is the true essence and nature of life itself. And it is from this place of oneness, of truth, that I speak this word. Knowing that right here, right now, all is truly well. In this moment, peace resides. Love is here. Beauty is here. Creativity is here. So I choose this moment to see this and to know this. And to allow this to move me, to open my heart, to be present. To be present with the beloved right in front of me. To open my heart to serve. And to allow that guidance, that inner voice, to move me towards inspired action. And to get my bloated nothingness out of the way and allow divine insight to be revealed. How good it is to remember the truth for myself and others. To know that love, God, divine order is expressing itself right here, right now, in my life, in the life of our spiritual community here at Ahava. in our city of Lexington, state of Kentucky, wherever you are tuning in from online, call this now for your community, this energy of divine love and order to be known for our country. Love and only love. So I'm so grateful to speak this word and to know that a healing is happening now, and that I choose to commit to love, to be the revelation of Spirit itself in each and every moment. And with great gratitude for the fulfillment of this word, I release it now and let it be so. And so it is.